Welcome everyone, this is Halak again, and in our previous Java tutorial I covered the first half of this rather simple application that I created to demonstrate public, private keywords and packages. So we're going to continue with that example, okay? So feel free to pause the video anytime if you want to code, right? So you want to actually code, open up your IDE and enter this into your, you want to put this code into your IDE. And I think it's a good idea for you to try to actually put this in yourself. It's a good way to learn. Okay. Now the other half, remember what we've done so far is that we've in our main class we basically simulated a way to fill out an application form, right? And the application form class was public because this makes sense. It's very intuitive because an application form you can get that at any government branch and you fill it out, all right? So this is the reason why it's public. Now on the other side, okay, so once you filled out the form, what happens is that the SIM card, all the rest that happens should not be accessible by the public. Okay, so here what we have is on the other side is that I created these other two classes, right? And notice that these other two classes are in the same package as application form. Okay, application form was public, but all right. Okay, so it was public. Well, what I could actually have done is actually do this. Okay, so that's better. Okay, so now here, this class place order, even if you try to create an object outside of this package, right? If you're not a government worker, you wouldn't have access to it. Okay, all right. So let's continue with this example. So say that I'm a government worker, right? Now what I do is that I want to fulfill a user's request for a SIM card. Okay, so the user filled out the SIM card, and that user's name was James Gosling, right? And the address is 123 Java Way. Okay, so and this was stored inside in a file, right? It's very simple, but it's in a file. So now I want to read back that data. Okay, so I'm a government worker. I want to pull out, so I'm going to read the form. Okay, so let's just say that I have a form there, and I'm going to, instead of doing it manually, I can read it from a database. Okay, or in our case, a file. Right, so this buffered reader here will actually allow us to do that. Okay, so just say that, right here I'll comment saying that I read the data of user requesting SIM card. Okay, so there it is. Okay, and what I do is because I'm a government worker, I'm able to create a new SIM card. All right, so I'm going to create a new SIM card. All right, okay, and notice that the SIM card, right, the class is not public. So for example, if I go back to this public access package here, and I try to create a SIM card, you see that it will return an error. Okay, it won't recognize that. See that? So it's turned red. All right, so it's saying to create the class, right? And when it's saying to create the class, it's actually saying create the class inside of this package, right? But that's not what we want. Okay. Oops. Okay. So let's get rid of that. Okay. So there you go. So if we're a government worker, we have access to it. Okay. So this is okay because we are in the same package. Okay. So what does that mean? I think I wrote something here. So notice that right here, this is called package private. Okay. So or it's also called default. Okay. That's what it is. It's this code here is only accessible for classes within the package. Okay. So it's called package private. Okay. Now that we have a SIM card, all right, we're going to set the name, all right, but let's go jump into the SIM card. Okay, so the constructor. So what's happening in the constructor here? Okay. Now, so before I do that, let's just run it and see what happens first, so we can get an idea of what's going on here. All right, so I'm going to run this. All right, so last time I ran the main from main.java. Now I'm running the main within order place order.java. Okay, so here it is, SYN card created. Okay, this is what I wrote here, right? But before I actually did that, this is just a simple way to generate a random number, right, and random integer. So it's all this big number here is create any number from 0 to this large number and just add it there. So I just wanted a digit, basically an int with 9 consisting of 9 digits, and that's what I did. Okay, and now we go back. All right, so we created that, and that's what we saw printed out. And what we did was that we you notice that in the SYN card, right, this random number generator will assign this number to the SYN card, because even if I'm a public worker, right, I shouldn't be allowed to create a SYN number. So within this class, it does the creation, right? It assigns the number. And you notice that right here, there are no set method to set the SYN number. Okay, there's only a get SYN number, right? So notice that placeholder can only read a SYN but can never set one. So this is a read-only instance variable. Okay, so we go back out. All right. So, but what we can do is actually set a name. Okay, because remember, I'm the public worker. The card's here, but I need to assign this the name to this individual. So what I do is I actually read in. Okay, so I read the file. Right. So it's James Gosling. Right. Okay. So I read it in and I set it. Okay. So I set it to this card. Okay. So I called this method here. Okay. So, and then I just printed out name to appear on the SYN card is, right, SYN card.getName. Again, this is another package private method. Okay, and here it prints it out James Gosling. That's what it was assigned up here after I read it from the file. And then address is, right, notice that I never read the address, right, from when I actually opened up this data stream here. This is now I'm reading the second line, and the second line contains the address. So address is 123 Java Way. Right? I mean, it's silly to have an address put on a SYN card. So so there isn't there's no address assigned to an actual SYN card, right? There will be other forms that will capture the user's detailed information, but not in this case. Okay, and then the last print line we have here is SYN card.getName, right? So we're getting the name. So James Gosling, your name is, and here's the SYN card number. And then I just close the stream. Okay, so again, so you notice that for us to use, all right, so for us to use, for example, here, all right, for us to use application form, okay, we had to import it. Okay, so this is another keyword, all right. So for example, because this is we're back into our main class, all right, and this is our package that we're in, and we want to use, okay, we want to use application form, so we import it, okay, and this will only work if the class itself is public. So for example, if I try, let me try this. If I try importing it, right, .com.lac, how, right, government, right. So you notice the only thing that pops up is application form because it's public, right? SYN card and placeholder doesn't appear because I made it package private. Okay, so so that I can fill it in just for demonstration purposes. So card, right? So this is this will result in an error, right? I'll just say failed. Okay, not accessible. All right, so and also the same thing for place order. Okay, all right, so that's what we have. Okay, now of course we needed the import for the random number to create the random number and other things here. But you notice that we didn't import any user-defined package, classes. We didn't import those. Okay, so there you go. That's a simple, or rather a very trivial problem that I try to that I created so that you can get an idea of public and private keywords, right? And before I leave, right, the private keyword here is that name and synnum here, right? Because they're private, it could only be seen in this piece of code. And if we actually want to get access to it, you notice that we have to create methods to access it, right? Okay, so that's the reason why. Again, the convention is that you should always create your instance variable as private, and then you slowly give access to it the way you want it. Okay, so for example, going back here, I gave access to get the SIN number, but I never gave access to actually set the SIN number. Right, and not only that, these are package private, so it's only accessible. So if the object is actually created in another class, it has to be in the same package, right? Then it's accessible. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.